Hello and welcome to Startup Circle. I'm Varsha Meghani, and in this episode, we'll be talking to Ananth Narayanan, the former Myntra CEO and now founder of Mensa Brands, to find out how the startup, which raised to unicorn status in just 6 months, acquires small digital-first brands and makes them bigger and better using technology. Over the last year, a number of aggregators has emerged in India that specialize in acquiring small, digital-first brands and turbocharging their growth. Unlike traditional VCs that acquire stake in companies and then leave the operations to the entrepreneurs, these startup aggregators are essentially operating companies. After acquiring brands, they upgrade their product development, marketing, or supply chain management using tech-based tools. It's not unlike the age-old model of Unilever or P&G, gobbling up smaller companies and then using their financial muscle to dominate shelf space or TV ad spots. US-based Thrasio is a pioneer in this space. Founded in 2018, the startup manages a portfolio of 100 brands. In 2020, it raked in $100 million in profit on revenues of $500 million. It's now valued at a cool $6 billion. In India, Mensa Brands, Global Bees, 10 Club, Powerhouse 91, Goat Brand Labs, Evenflow, and Upscaleo, all startup aggregators, have quickly become one of the hottest segments in the startup scene. Together, they've raised close to $400 million. Mensa was the first among them to reach unicorn status, followed by Global Bees. You previously said you're not building the Thrasio of India. So how is Mensa different?
As I said, I'm not trying to be X of anything. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to build Mensa into a global tech-led house of brands. If you think about how Unilever built brands, how Inditex built brands, distribution was a moat.
Yeah.
You had fewer SKUs and ATL marketing around those brands in large formats was the way to sort of build the brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's changed fundamentally because distribution is now democratized across Myntra, Flipkart, Amazon, Nykaa, AGO, and others.
Right.
And content in many ways is democratized because I think the ability to share content one-on-one, personalize it, create viral content, etc., and therefore build your brand digitally is very different than what it used to be. So the principle behind what we're trying to do is very simple. Can you build a house of brands which is global in nature but from India and very tech-led in both the product development approach, the marketing approach, and the supply chain approach? Now, the aggregation part is similar to many global competitors, right? But the aggregation of what is the question, right? Here we're trying to aggregate brands, not sellers. What's the difference between a brand and a seller is actually a brand is something that has a certain level of consumer pull. It can be demonstrated in various ways. So the growth doesn't happen just through performance marketing. It happens automatically over time. Brand searches relative to category searches start to go up. Your top of mind and spontaneous recall are better, blah, blah, blah. Right? I mean, there are many, many indicators of it. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to build out brands, right?
In a short span of time, Mensa has raised over $200 million from the likes of Alpha Wave Ventures, Falcon Edge Capital, Axel Partners, Naspers, Norwest Venture Partners, and Tiger Global Management, among others. Rivals Global Bees and 10 Club have also raised significant sums. So what explains the investor frenzy in the space?
So firstly, there's a very different way of brand building. Secondly, there is an advantage to doing this at a portfolio level and not as a single brand. The advantages are both economies of scope and economies of scale. So both on the supply and the demand side, right? Supply being product development, inventory management, warehousing, supply chain, demand being growth hacking, digital marketing, performance marketing, cohorts, D2C, going global, blah, blah, blah. If you are actually a house of brands, right? Your ability to sort of do all of these becomes better because they're shared across many brands. Therefore, you're able to attract better capital and better talent. And then it becomes a virtuous cycle. We have found this rare new category in e-commerce, which is high growth and profitable. I mean, we're actually profitable within the first 6 months of our existence, right? At a Mensa level. I think investors get excited because it's not a capital cycle dependent model. You're using the capital more for getting more brand partnerships and not just for subsidies.
D2C brands in India are thriving today as online channels become the go-to destinations for discovery, purchase, and easy delivery. More than 600 D2C brands have been launched in India since 2016, according to Avendus Capital. So how does Mensa decide which brands to pick from this sea of brands?
We scrape, I think, across all the marketplaces, across D2C, etc. So we have a view in the three spaces we operate in, which is fashion, beauty and personal care, and home, right? across these three categories, we have the ability to look for brands and emerging brands through tech-led scraping, right? So you look at reviews and ratings. The biggest criteria there, by the way, Varsha, is actually customer love, right? I mean, as evidenced by many different things. I think it's reviews, it's ratings, it's social media engagement to lifetime customers. Right. It's sentiment analysis that we actually do, again, using AI and machine learning to sort of say, what is the actual sentiment around the brand in social media, right? It's cohort analysis to basically say, how are the repeats, are they going up over time? How's the LTV to CAC? So there's a whole bunch of both quantitative and qualitative metrics that we look for that indicate customer love. And I think because it's more online, Varsha, the quantitative ability to assess customer love goes up relative, say, looking at an offline brand where it's a little harder to judge. From that shortlist, we look for people who are founders that we think we can work with. As you know, we've done 12 partnerships. Third is, of course, financials. So we're looking for profitable brands of a certain size and scale. So I would say between $1 and $15 million is the size that we look for. And, growing at least at market, which in the Hindu growth rate of e-commerce is 30%.
Mensa then goes about scaling up the brands, be it through product improvements, sharper marketing, or supply chain management, among other tech-led approaches. Take the case of men's perfume brand Villain. Mensa noticed that longevity was the most common term used in all the product's poorly rated reviews online. So they went back to the product, increased its concentration level from 10 to 15%, which in turn led to greater longevity. The brand has since been growing at 20% month on month. Aggregating, another brand Mensa acquired, sold premium saris online only through its own platform. But the team noticed friction at every step of the checkout process, from not having prices clearly mentioned to discount coupons not automatically appearing in the buyer's cart. By reducing the friction across the funnel, conversions went up by 25 to 30% in just 20 days.
Ananth, with 7 to 8 startup aggregators in India today, all vying for the same brands, how do you differentiate yourself?
I think the difference is execution, for sure, right? Okay. The reality is, I think it's a little bit like in fintech, right? Lending is easy, collecting is hard, right? The same thing here, right? I mean, I think, acquiring brands is the easy part. Growing and accelerating them is the tough part. So I think the skills and capabilities, processes and operating system we're building to accelerate a brand, I think is the long-term differentiator, right? There's an operating system that's getting built, which is technology-led, very process-led. What are the 20 things to do to grow the brand in a box, right? And I think that's a little bit of the secret sauce of what we're trying to do, which I think is the differentiator.
The secret sauce Narayanan refers to helps Mensa solve for questions like how do you improve a brand's ranking from say 150 to the top 10 on Amazon or Flipkart? How much capital to allocate to which SKUs? How do you price products or discount them at different stages of the funnel? Or even something as detailed as which tone of mustard will help improve the sales of saris. Also, unlike the classic aggregator model, where the aggregator buys out the founder in entirety, Mensa acquires a majority stake in the brand, leaving the founder with enough skin in the game. They then work together to scale up the brand, and the founder exits over a 5-year period.
Do you know how many brands in the lifestyle space exist that are more than $100 million in revenue, annual revenue, primarily digital? Sub 25. In a country the size of India, right? It's amazing to me, right? So I think there's a huge opportunity to build multiple $100 million brands out of it.
On the other hand, there are 4,000 plus brands between $1 million and $15 million in India today in the lifestyle categories. Over the next 4 years, Mensa hopes to partner with 70 to 100 of them. Of those, it aims to scale at least 10 of them into $100 million brands. And of those 10, it hopes that 5 or 6 of them will become global brands.
So think of us as a digital Unilever. So Unilever is not a brand, right? Unilever is a house of brands. So eventual end game for us is to list an IPO Mensa. Right? That's what we want to try and do.